Welcome to Living Your Senior Life, the podcast where we explore tips, ideas, and inspiration for making the most of every season of life. Whether it's health, lifestyle, or a little bit of fun, we're here to help you live well, live fully, and live your best senior life. In our last episode, we explored the essential foods that help build stronger bones. Those calcium-rich, nutrient-packed choices that support bone density as we age. But there's another side to the story. Some everyday foods and drinks, even ones that seem harmless, can quietly work against your bone health. In this episode, we'll uncover the top foods that can weaken your bones, explain how they affect calcium absorption, and share simple ways to balance your diet so you can stay strong and active for years to come. Before we dive in, just a quick note. This episode is for informational purposes only and isn't medical advice. Always talk with your healthcare provider about your personal needs.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are cracking open a topic that, well, it might just change how you look at your kitchen pantry. We're talking about bone health.
Yeah, and specifically, the surprising ways some really common everyday foods and drinks might be quietly undermining your skeleton as you get older.
It's a big deal. You know, we hear so much about building strong bones when we're young, but maintaining them, that's the long game.
It absolutely is. And while everyone knows calcium and vitamin D are like the superstars, and they really are fundamental, the research we looked at shows something else. Even if you think you're doing everything right, some subtle food choices can interfere with how you use calcium or even speed up bone loss. It's quite subtle sometimes.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive. We've dug into the sources to pull out 10 specific foods and drinks that maybe deserve a second look. Think of it as navigating the hidden pitfalls.
Exactly. But before anyone panics and clears out their cupboards, let's get the main point out right away. If you remember one thing from our chat today, it's this. The biggest danger usually isn't one single food item. The combined effect, the cumulative impact of maybe not getting enough calcium overall, coupled with some unbalanced eating habits. Our goal here is moderation and awareness, definitely not restriction across the board.
Okay, good. So before we even get into that moderation list, let's hammer down the foundation. What's that core calcium number people need to aim for?
Let's put a number on it. For women over 50, and for men once they're over 70, the target we need to talk about is 1,200 milligrams of calcium every day.
1,200 milligrams.
That's the level research suggests is really crucial for maintaining bone integrity later in life.
Got it. So let's talk about why just focusing on a bad foods list kind of misses the point if you haven't nailed that 1,200 milligrams. Why is avoidance maybe the wrong starting point?
Well, because that whole list of problem foods, it becomes much less of a problem if your calcium intake is solid. The single biggest dietary threat, study after study shows this, is simply not getting enough calcium in the first place. If you're consistently hitting that, say, 1,200 milligram goal, your body has more resources. It can often buffer or offset the minor negative effects of many things we'll discuss.
It's like worrying about, I don't know, the paint color when the walls aren't even up yet.
Precisely. You got to build the structure first, lay that foundation. And just to be specific on those numbers again.
Now let's recap.
It's 1,200 milligrams for women over 50 and men over 70. But for men between 51 and 70, it's slightly lower, 1,000 milligrams daily. Then everyone hits that 1,200 milligram mark after 70. It's just a physiological need.
Okay. And you can't really talk calcium without bringing in its essential partner, right? Vitamin D.
Oh, absolutely non-negotiable. They work together. If you don't have enough vitamin D in the target, there is generally 600 to 800 international units, or IU, daily. Then your body just can't absorb the calcium effectively.
How much are we talking? Like, how much is lost?
You might absorb less than half the calcium you eat. So you could be hitting that 1,200 milligram target on paper.
Right.
But your bones are only actually seeing maybe 600 milligrams or even less. They're a team. You need both.
Okay, solid foundation established, calcium goal set, vitamin D partner acknowledged. Now, let's get into the nuances, the foods that require moderation, especially if that calcium foundation is shaky. First up, a big one. Coffee and caffeinated drinks. People worry about this one.
They really do. It's a common concern.
Yeah.
But the science, it's actually way more balanced than the scary headlines often suggest. Moderate consumption seems okay.
Define moderate for us.
We're talking under about 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. That's roughly, 3 to 4 standard cups of brewed coffee. If you're in that range, and crucially, if you're getting at least 800 milligrams of calcium daily, the research indicates it's likely safe for bone health.
Okay, that's reassuring for a lot of us. But where does a worry come from? Does it cause any calcium loss?
It does, but it's really minimal. The sources we looked at estimate that for every 100 milligrams of caffeine, you might lose about 6 milligrams of calcium.
6 milligrams? That sounds tiny.
It is. When you think about needing 1,200 milligrams overall, 6 milligrams is pretty negligible.
And easy to make up for, I imagine.
Oh, incredibly easy. Adding just 1 or 2 tablespoons of milk or calcium-fortified creamer to your coffee, that easily offsets that tiny loss right there. The real issue is only if someone is drinking like pots of coffee and is already low on calcium.
Right, the combination effect again. Okay, let's move to another usual suspect. High-sodium foods, especially processed ones. We know salt's not great for blood pressure, but the bone connection.
It's a direct link through your kidneys. When you take in a lot of sodium, your kidneys work overtime to flush it out, and unfortunately, calcium gets pulled out along with it in your urine.
Oh.
The numbers suggest for every 2,300 milligrams of sodium you consume, that's the upper limit, often recommended for general health, you could lose somewhere between 40 and 60 milligrams of calcium.
Okay, 40 to 60 milligrams. That feels a bit more significant than the coffee effect. So what's a sensible sodium target for older adults mindful of bone health?
Most guidelines for seniors suggest aiming for between 1,500 and 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. It's really about finding that balance. And if that feels tough with packaged foods...
Yeah, sodium's hidden everywhere.
It is. But simple tricks help, like just rinsing canned beans, lentils, or vegetables under water can reduce their sodium content by up to 40%. It's a small action with a pretty big impact on your daily total.
That's a great practical tip. Okay, next up, excessive animal protein. Now, this feels counterintuitive. We need protein for muscles. And strong muscles support bones, right?
Absolutely. Protein is vital. And you're right, seniors often need more protein, maybe around 0.8 to 1 grams per kilogram of body weight, to maintain muscle mass, which is crucial for preventing falls and supporting the skeleton.
So it's not protein itself?
No. The issue highlighted in the research is excessive intake, specifically from animal sources, particularly red meat.
What's the mechanism there? Why would too much meat be a problem?
Well, some animal proteins are high in sulfur-containing amino acids. When your body metabolizes these, it creates a slightly acidic load. And your body likes to maintain a neutral pH balance. So to buffer that acidity, it might draw upon its main alkaline reserve, which is the calcium phosphate stored in your bones.
Ah, so it's leaching calcium to balance the pH?
Potentially, yes, with very high intakes. The smart strategy isn't to avoid animal protein, but to balance it. Vary your protein sources, fish, poultry, beans, lentils, and always make sure you're eating plenty of fruits and vegetables alongside meat.
Because fruits and veggies are more alkaline.
Exactly. They help buffer that acid load naturally. It's all about the overall balance of the meal and the diet.
Okay, this next section is really interesting. We're shifting from what the food is to how or when we eat it. Let's talk cola. People always point to the phosphoric acid. Is that the whole story?
That's the common belief, yeah. But the big Framingham Osteoporosis study had dug into this and found something more specific. It was really only cola beverages, not other sodas, that were linked to lower bone mineral density in the hip for women who drank them daily.
How much lower?
Around 3 to 5% lower density, which is significant over time.
But if other sodas also have acid, why only cola? What did the study suggest was the real driver?
The key factor identified was displacement. It wasn't necessarily that the cola itself was aggressively leaching calcium, but rather that women drinking cola regularly were simply not drinking other things, specifically milk or calcium-fortified drinks.
The opportunity cost.
Precisely. Every time you choose a cola instead of a glass of milk, you're missing out on maybe 300 milligrams of calcium. That adds up fast. And this displacement effect is why the same study found that other carbonated drinks, like sparkling water or non-cola sodas, didn't seem to have the same negative impact on bone health.
That's a critical distinction. It's not the fizz, it's what the cola replaces. Okay, now let's tackle something that seems super healthy. Wheat bran, whole grains, beans, nuts, high phytate foods. Aren't these like health staples?
They absolutely are. Fantastic for fiber, gut health, lots of nutrients. However, they contain compounds called phytates, or phytic acid.
And phytates do what?
They're really good at binding to minerals in your gut, including calcium. When calcium is bound to phytate, your body can't absorb it as effectively. It basically gets locked up.
So if I have my high-fiber bran cereal with milk for breakfast, Am I losing some of that milk calcium?
You might be, yes.
Yeah.
The phytates in the bran can bind to some of the calcium in the milk right there in your bowl or in your digestive tract.
Wow. So should we avoid these foods?
No, definitely not avoid. The strategy here is all about timing, not elimination. The key is to separate your main calcium sources from your high phytate foods.
How much separation are we talking?
Try to leave at least a 2-hour gap between taking a calcium supplement or having a large dairy serving and eating a very high phytate food like pure wheat bran or maybe a large serving of beans. That separation gives the calcium a chance to be absorbed on its own.
2 hours. Okay, that's doable. Now, a similar issue with some leafy greens, right? High oxalate ones like spinach and rhubarb. Again, these are packed with good stuff. Vitamin K, magnesium.
Yep, both crucial for bones. But spinach and rhubarb are also high in oxalates. And just like phytates, oxalates bind tightly to calcium.
So the calcium in the spinach isn't really available to us?
Largely, no. The oxalates bind it up, so you don't absorb much calcium directly from the spinach itself, even though it's listed on the label.
Okay, but spinach is so healthy otherwise. Should we be limiting it?
Absolutely not. Please don't stop eating spinach. The overall health benefits, the vitamins, the fiber, the antioxidants, they vastly outweigh this one specific concern about calcium binding. The practical takeaway is just, don't count on spinach as a significant source of dietary calcium. Think of its calcium as unavailable.
Got it. So vary your greens.
Exactly. Mix spinach with low oxalate, high calcium greens like kale, bok choy, or collard greens. And another useful tip, cooking, especially boiling or steaming high oxalate greens and discarding the water, can significantly reduce their oxalate content while retaining many other nutrients.
Good to know. All right, let's move into what the sources flagged as potentially the most concerning items, maybe needing more than just moderation. High sugar and ultra-processed foods.
Yeah, this is a big one in modern diets. Research, including a study projected for 2025 mentioned in our sources, is increasingly linking diets heavy in these foods to negative impacts on actual bone quality and mineral density. It's not just about empty calories.
How does sugar directly hurt bones beyond just displacing healthier foods?
It seems to attack from multiple angles. First, excess sugar intake makes your kidneys excrete more calcium. You literally pee it out. Second, it can interfere with calcium absorption in your gut. And third, these foods tend to promote low-grade systemic inflammation.
Right.
And chronic inflammation messes with the whole bone remodeling process, potentially slowing down bone building and speeding up breakdown.
It's a systemic problem then. What's a realistic goal for listeners wanting to cut back on added sugar?
The general guidelines are pretty clear. Aim for less than 25 grams of added sugar per day if you're a woman, and less than 36 grams if you're a man. You really have to start reading labels because it adds up incredibly fast, often hiding in sauces, dressings, yogurts, not just sweets.
25 and 36 grams. Okay. Next, alcoholic beverages. This one always seems complicated, with talk of moderate drinking sometimes being okay.
It is complex. The data often shows what's called a J-shaped curve, meaning very low or perhaps moderate intake, usually defined as up to 1 drink per day for women. Up to 2 for men doesn't seem to harm bones, and a few studies even hinted it might be slightly protective, but that's debated.
Okay, but where does the J curve shoot upwards? Where does it become clearly harmful?
The danger zone is definitely heavy drinking. That's typically defined as having 3 or more drinks on any given day, or consistently drinking more than 8 drinks per week for women, or 15 per week for men.
And the impact of heavy drinking.
It's significant. Chronic heavy alcohol use is strongly linked to lower bone density and a much higher risk of fractures, particularly hip fractures. We're talking increases of 33% to even over 50% risk.
Wow, that's a huge jump. What's the alcohol actually doing to the bones at that level?
It disrupts quite a lot. Heavy alcohol use interferes with the body's ability to properly absorb and utilize vitamin D, which, as we said, is crucial for calcium.
Right.
It can also mess with hormone levels, like estrogen and testosterone, which play roles in maintaining bone mass. And it can directly harm bone-building cells.
Okay, clear link there with heavy use. Finally, let's touch on a supplement risk. Excessive vitamin A. This is not one people might think about regarding bone health.
No, it's less commonly known. Vitamin A is essential, of course, but the issue is specifically with high doses of the preform version called retinol, which is often found in supplements like multivitamins or cod liver oil.
Not the kind from carrots.
Exactly.
Right.
The kind from plant foods like carrots and sweet potatoes is beta-carotene. Your body converts beta-carotene to vitamin A only as needed, so it's very hard to overdose on it from food. But retinol from supplements bypasses that control.
And too much retinol does what?
High levels of supplemental retinol can actually interfere with vitamin D's positive actions on bone. It can also stimulate the cells that break down bone, potentially leading to increased fracture risk over time.
Is there a safe upper limit we should be aware of on supplement labels?
Yes, the general advice is not to exceed 3,000 micrograms. That's micrograms, not milligrams of retinol activity equivalents, RAE, daily from supplements. Check your multivitamin label.
3,000 micrograms of retinol. Got it. Better to get your vitamin A from colorful fruits and veggies then.
Absolutely. Stick to food sources for vitamin A. It's the safest way.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, from coffee to cola, brand to booze. When you pull it all together, what's the core message people should take away?
I think the main thing is that protecting your bones as you age is really about building smart, sustainable habits. It's not about fear or drastically cutting out everything on some list. It's much more about ensuring you have that solid foundation, enough calcium, enough vitamin D, and then practicing sensible moderation with the few things that can have a bigger impact, like excess sodium, sugar, and heavy alcohol use. Balance is key.
So let's make that really actionable. Can we quickly recap the top 5 priorities that emerged from the sources?
Definitely. Number 1, get enough calcium. Aim for that 1,200 milligrams daily if you're a woman over 50 or a man over 70.
Right.
Number 2, pair it with vitamin D, 600 to 800 IU daily to make sure you absorb that calcium.
Okay.
Number 3, practice moderation, especially with the big hitters, heavy alcohol, really high sodium intake, added sugars, ultra-processed foods. Number 4, stay active. Weight-bearing exercise and strength training sends signals to your bones to stay strong.
Crucial.
And number 5, know your personal risk. Talk to your doctor. Ask about bone density testing, especially if you have risk factors.
Excellent summary. And you mentioned one more practical tip about actually using that 1,200 milligrams of calcium effectively throughout the day.
Ah, yes, the absorption limit. This is important. Your body can generally only absorb about 500 to 600 milligrams of calcium efficiently at one time.
So chugging all your calcium in one go isn't ideal.
Not at all. If you try to get all 1,200 milligrams in your morning smoothie or with one meal, a good chunk of it might just pass through unabsorbed. It's much better to spread your calcium intake out.
Like how?
Maybe aim for a calcium-rich source at breakfast, another later in the day, perhaps with dinner or as an evening snack, or split your supplement dose into morning and evening. Spreading it out maximizes how much your body can actually take up and use.
That's a fantastic practical detail. Okay, so maybe the final thought for everyone listening is to shift the focus slightly. Instead of worrying too much about what to limit, start by focusing on what you need to add or ensure.
Exactly. Nail that 1,200 milligram calcium goal consistently. Pair it with vitamin D, spread it out.
And maybe, just maybe, track your calcium intake for a few days. Use an app, jot it down to see where you actually stand. That knowledge alone could be the most powerful first step toward building stronger bones for the future.
Remember, protecting your bones isn't about cutting everything out. It's about knowing what to balance and making small, steady changes. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to check out our companion guide, Essential Foods for Bone Strength, for the foods that work for you, not against you. And as always, this episode is for informational purposes only and isn't a substitute for medical advice. Talk with your healthcare provider about what's best for your individual health needs. Until next time, here's to strong bones, healthy aging, and living your best life after 50.